Captain, I've finished compiling the log data you requested.
Great. Can you pass it to my ARM computer, Juno? Actually, best send it to Jack as well.
Of course. Jack, I've added it to your data tab.
Wow, this is some archive.
It was an illuminating expedition. I took the liberty of segmenting the log entries. Feel free to review them at your own pace.
If you two have finished, I've input the parameters for the next sim.
Of course, Doctor.
Second core installed.
Acknowledged. Please visit one of the nearby consoles to bring the reactor back online.
The reactor is back online.
The power hasn't returned here on the ship yet.
Jack, power still needs to be distributed from here to the ship, as well as the rest of the station. The control room has a console you can use to perform this final step.
I noticed these when we first arrived in this timeline. Some kind of massive processing structure. It's capturing Saturn's atmosphere.
Correct. They're known as autonomous atmospheric harvesters. They process hydrogen and helium from Saturn, inject it into containers, and then jettison those containers outward for retrieval. The minimal contact reduces the risk of biomass infection.
It's like the Kronos 5000 or something.
Sorry?
I mean, it might be what our job would have turned into. It's a bit more impressive than extracting helium from ice cubes like we did, but it's basically where our work was headed.
Distribution complete. Power grid stabilized. Life support systems optimal.
Well done, Jack. We're getting full power here.
How is progress on your end?
Dr. Harlan's still running sims, but I think we at least have a working theory.
All the models we've run so far appear to confirm biomass interaction with an active FTL triggers an abnormal buildup of energy within the drive, resulting in the formation of a temporal anomaly.
For reasons we still don't fully understand.
It is also unclear why the accident only caused the android's software to travel through time, as opposed to the more physical time jumps we've observed with the Astrea. But at this point, I'm willing to accept these ambiguities and proceed.
Wait, what exactly are you saying?
We must try it again.
What, send Jack back in time again? You've got to be kidding me.
It's the only way. Any chance we have of eliminating the biomass lies with finding an undetonated torpedo. We must send the android back.
You talk like he's expendable.
Now, of course he is. All of us are. You've seen how it spreads. Eradicating the biomass is going to take everything we have, and then some.
Yeah, well, it's not just up to you, is it? Jack, what do you think?
If the end result is you being cured, is that not the best course of action?
Are you sure? There are so many unknowns here.
There does not appear to be another way of obtaining the data required. Waiting for an alternative presents a far greater risk to your safety. And your safety.
Is your primary concern, right? Should have seen that coming. Fine. I'm on board. So what's next?
We're going to have to recreate the circumstances of the time travel accident.
Oh, don't tell me.
We're going to need biomass. Contained biomass samples specifically. The research facility should serve our purposes nicely.
There is one other problem. The FTL accident depleted the drive's fuel cells, and we don't have the supplies to refill them.
Then our best bet for a fuel cell will be the remnants of the Astrea. However, exploring that area may be difficult. Pesky shipboard defense protocols somehow remain active. Something off with the AI, Juno says.
Could be just as dangerous as dealing with the biomass, really. Well, Jack, what's up first? Grab some creepy crawlies from the research facility? Or dig up a fuel cell for the FTL drive?
I'll collect our biomass samples first.
Though no longer operational, there is a tram line leading from the central transit hub out to the research facility.
Understood.
So when Jack eventually returns with these volatile materials, where exactly do we plan to store them?
I believe I can convert elements of the refueling depot to suit our needs.
Need a hand?
Why, yes, Captain. Your assistance would be most appreciated.
Anything's better than just sitting here. Come on, Popcorn. Let's get ready to head out. Good luck out there. See you soon.
You're approaching the biomass research facility. This is where the outbreak originated.
We're sure there's some contained biomass on hand for Jack to retrieve.
Logs indicate 1 or 2 containers should still be in storage. However, reaching them may be difficult due to the entire facility being under lockdown.
The tram entrance will undoubtedly be your only way in.
Acknowledged. The facility appears to be in fairly poor condition, but there is at least some power flowing.
Due to the generator being restored.
Unfortunately, I'm still unable to access any systems further into the facility. Power flow stops at the entry terminal. It appears that the systems are outright disconnected, including the physical entry bridge. Jack, you'll need to reconnect those systems to gain entry to the facility.
Copy that. This appears to be some sort of focusing device. I haven't seen anything like it elsewhere on Chiron Station. Somewhat odd to leave this case empty.
It's fairly straightforward.
A scale model of the FTL drive on Dr. Harlan's ship. Was the drive developed here?
Not exactly. While the few FTL drives still in service were refitted here, The original design was actually reverse engineered from the FTL drives left behind aboard the Estrella.
It seems someone was emphatic about maintaining the lockdown.
That console would have controlled the bridge leading into the main facility.
I assumed.
I'm not seeing any backup controls in the blueprints, unfortunately. It's possible the cave contains systems not listed in the schematics. It may be worth a quick investigation.
This bridge is currently disconnected, as part of the lockdown procedures.
Correct. The doors won't open until both sides of the bridge are fully extended.
Did they get everyone out?
According to these logs,
I believe this is a manual activation switch.
it should restore power.
Reestablishing main generator connection. Be advised, Class 3 power fields will become active. Dormancy will be nullified.
Jack, power will soon be returning to the immediate area, as well as the rest of the research facility. Just keep in mind that you'll also be awakening any dormant biomass within.
That's a good point. By restoring power, we're undoing something that was put in place as a die-hard safety precaution.
We're certain this is the only place we're going to find a contained biomass.
Assuming these fragmented station logs are correct? Yes.
Well, that's reassuring.
Finalizing connection.
Connection established. Now receiving power readings throughout the facility. Jack, once you have the bridge fully extended, you should be able to access the facility proper. Though I suspect some areas may have additional security requirements.
Nora, the research director, would have done everything she could to contain the outbreak. But there is no containing it. This was an eventuality.
It's fortunate that your disagreement over priorities led you to be elsewhere when the outbreak occurred.
It's only fortunate if I'm right.
These are auxiliary controls for the extension bridges.
Correct. They should allow you to extend the bridge now that the power is restored.
Juno, are any of the station's X3 units still active?
Not exactly. My records indicate that all X3 neural matrices were transferred off Chiron Station during the evacuation.
Well, despite everything, it's nice that at least the androids made it out.
Bridge extension initiated. Bridge reconnection complete.
I'm heading back to the entry terminal.
Dr. Harlan, if these power readings are accurate, our suspicions appear confirmed.
What's that now? What suspicions?
Educated guess, rather.
Which is different how?
The ticks aren't the only form of biomass that have been evolving since your time.
Great, so what's this one do? Open doors?
Quite the opposite, in fact.
It's best if you see for yourselves.
I'm crossing into the main facility now.
Copy that, Jack.
Biomass has taken hold here.
Given that it got this far, the rest of the facility will likely be much worse.
Will the fabricator still be operational?
In the security control room, I found a casualty.
According to logs,
must have been trying to keep the scanners running to prevent the biomass from leaving the facility.
But if someone failed to scan...
They would have had to remain behind. Unfortunately, even the scanning room itself became contaminated.
Jack, you are now entering the facility's lobby. Biomass containment is located through the leftmost door.
This area appears to be locked down.
That's the test wing. We should focus on reaching the containment area.
I found another casualty of the biomass. In the lobby.
Dr. Brianna Leamington.
She was one of our pathologists.
Shields at 50%.
This must be the evolved biomass form Dr. Harlan mentioned. It detects my presence, much like the other specimens encountered thus far.
We classify it as a reticulated B biomass organism, but most people just call them webs.
Aside from their namesake membrane, webs can also be recognized by an additional nodule. It should be quite distinct.
I take it you mean this abnormally bioluminescent growth.
Our best estimate is that it's some type of sensor family.
Get too close to the sensor, and the web expands.
Precisely. In any case, you'll need to bypass that web to reach the containment area.
Then I will search the rest of the facility for anything useful.
Shields at 95%. Shields at 50%.
Electrical systems here are clearly suffering from extreme damage. The lobby's directory is effectively useless.
Good thing we've got someone who knows their way around.
Always happy to be of assistance, Captain.
I was actually talking about Dr. Harlan. Thanks.
The X3 shell is somewhat different from my original specification.
Does that present an issue?
Negative. I was merely noting that the new shell is a substantial upgrade.
Ah, then I'm pleased you are adapting so effortlessly.
Another one of the web forms. I still have no way to bypass.
Then try the labs. The research they were doing there might prove useful.
Copy that. I'll see what I can find. There's some kind of added security here.
Dr. Everett Harlan reporting. Authorized laboratory access.
Voice-activated authorization. That's a smart security feature.
Thank you. And you're welcome.
This switch controls power for this hallway.
An emergency disconnect. Likely utilized as a means to curtail the outbreak.
They really did all they could to try and get the infestation under control.
They knew once it was out, they couldn't stop it. All they could do was buy time for everyone else on the station.
What sort of research were they doing here?
The director was convinced a cure was impractical. So she poured everything into containment technology.
Did she have any luck?
When I left, she had everyone working on miniaturizing the insulation cloaking from our containment unit. I'm not sure how far they got.
Biological specimens.
The director was always in here. Dissecting, testing. She was tireless.
She must have had a cast iron stomach.
One of the toughest people I have ever known.
These controls are running some sort of automated procedure.
The system is no longer reachable over the network. Cut out by the biomass, no doubt. It must be an old test, abandoned during the outbreak and resumed now that we've restored power.
This transparent aluminum is reinforced.
Unfortunately, that's still not enough to withstand concerted biomass growth.
I assume these microscopes were used to observe the biomass.
I believe so, yes.
Development of the biomass containment technology required research at the macro, micro, and even nanoscopic scales.
With these microscopes, the researchers would have been able to observe the effect of their containment technology in real time. With a more manageable sample size, of course.
It must have been a heavy responsibility to work so closely with live biomass samples.
It was not without its risks.
So, would you say it was more or less risky than intentionally infecting your own SPL drive?
Is this a control interface?
That's right, for the robotic arm in the adjoining chamber. Use the holographic controls to adjust each part of the articulation.
Is this some type of emitter?
It looks to be a functional prototype. I knew they were close, but I didn't know they had moved into practical testing. The basic concept was to surround the biomass with a cloak of electromagnetic insulation, preventing energy from reaching it.
Kind of like using a blanket to smother a flame.
Indeed. The idea was to build these cloak emitters as a reactive defense against the biomass, to contain it.
I can see a wide range of applications. It's
Just all lead-based, not a solution. I wish she could have seen that.
Biomass at the exit neutralized.
It's possible I failed to foresee some of the cloak emitter's eventual implications.
Sounds like your research director was on the right track.
Nora. She never gave up. I could hardly ever pull her away from her work.
Dr. Harlan, if I may interject, the local data I've seen implies that the director's efforts to develop cloak emitters proceeded beyond prototyping. Portable versions were installed in some of the extreme medtech shells. Several of these shells appear to have been left behind in the medical wing.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
I believe it may be possible to fit Jack with a similar device, a portable cloak emitter.
What is involved?
I'll need you to retrieve the data from one of the medtech shells here. With that, I should be able to reconstruct the portable cloak emitter's design.
Copy that. I'll see what I can find. There's a room jutting into this cave. Could it be part of the biomass containment area?
Negative. The room you're seeing is part of the facility's integrity monitoring system, responsible for tracking any changes in the asteroid structure during excavation. For safety reasons, biomass containment is located much deeper in the facility.
These medical beds were used for diagnostic scans?
And to monitor potential treatments. Many of my peers focused on post-diagnosis options.
What sort of options?
Pain management, transmission reduction. Though most patients with terminal diagnosis volunteered for cure research.
Wait. There are diagnoses that aren't terminal.
If the infection is limited to the extremities and has not yet penetrated the epidermis, amputation has a roughly 40% success rate.
In emergencies, the integrated cutter, equipped by several models of the X3 shell, including Jack's, can...
No. That's enough. Forget I asked.
This log indicates a multitude of visitors. Some were children.
Yes. Many of the station's personnel had families. Most of their children were suitably behaved. Some were not. Still, I hope they reached safety.
I'll need to manually open this door. I assume it was shut down as another precaution?
Most likely. If the medtech shells have data we can use to reconstruct a portable cloak emitter, it will be worth the risk.
I'm entering the medical lab.
Doctor, perhaps you should step away for a moment. I'm sure there's still plenty of output data to parse before we're ready to initiate the experiment.
She's here, isn't she? Juno.
More than likely, yes.
Who? The research director?
I can handle it, Juno.
Are you certain?
I'm not looking away.
A keypad for the duct.
It may provide a means to circumvent some of this biomass.
If I can find the code.
I found another casualty.
This researcher seems to have been helping the other one.
Dr. Adriana Lay.
She was too young for this.
Who was this person?
Dr. Franklin Teller, a fellow geneticist.
You knew him?
I knew all of them.
Oh, God.
A researcher and one of our anesthesiologists. It's an impossible task. Alleviating the pain of an infection, especially in later stages.
Yeah. I can imagine.
I've recovered her research. It also seems she received a message from Dr. McKenna with all of his access codes attached. Would you like me to play it?
Affirmative.
Beginning playback.
Hey, Adriana. I know I can count on you to look out for everyone. So I'm sending you my access codes. Should get you into my stuff and a few engineering areas. The spare rations, my playing cards, whatever else. If any of it helps even a little bit, please, take it. Share it. I figure it might make things a little more comfortable for you all.
Tram, prepare for departure.
Shit, I gotta go. I have no idea how to end this. Good luck. Goodbye.
End of message.
Could one of Dr. McKenna's codes work on that keypad Jack saw?
I believe so, yes. Jack, I'll add the code to your ARM computer.
Access to the utility ducts granted. Moving through the vents now.
Tell me something, Doctor. How long does it take
What?
for the infection to run its course?
Once it becomes fully active, usually somewhere between 3 to 5 days. But most victims opt to expedite their end.
Right. So, how does the infection work? Once it becomes active? I mean,
The biomass drains energy directly from your cells. Your body is in the throes of widespread cellular decay. Major organ failure follows 12 to 18 hours later. But at least by then you're not in as much pain, since the infection has likely started feeding on the electrical signals traveling through your nervous system. By day 4 you've...
alright. I get the picture.
Perhaps we should shift focus back to the mission.
Jack, it's okay. I asked. I should know what I'm here for. Just maybe not all at once.
My suspicions were correct. They did develop a portable version of the cloak emitter. Unfortunately, the data contained in this shell is only partial. Jack, to complete the reconstruction, I'll need you to scan additional units.
Understood.
Jack, I'm getting network ping from unscanned NetTech shells within the medical lab. I recommend locating them and using your data link to collect their core archives.
I found another arm equipped with a cloak emitter, a backup safety measure.
More than likely. But that's the problem. The biomass can't be contained. No matter how many redundancies you put in place.
Excellent. That shell contained more data regarding the portable emitters. We'll need a good bit more to reconstruct the design, though.
Patient chart reveals catastrophic cellular breakdown.
Most likely an internal infection that passed through the tissue.
Does that happen in every case?
Eventually, but the host is usually deceased by then.
Well, that's a relief.
Scan complete. We still need more data. Interesting. Doctor, this shell has a log conversation regarding the director and your research.
Go ahead, Julie.
Beginning playback.
Alright, Unit 5, back to the lab. The director wants to run those simulations again.
Very. For what purpose?
I'm not sure. Dr. Harlan's ideas were intriguing, to say the least, but, well, I suppose the director knows best. Go ahead and prep the simulations. I'll join you shortly.
Acknowledge, Dr. McKenna.
Huh. So the director eventually explored your theories after all?
I didn't expect she would continue it after I left. But without the biomass-based genetic material, it would have been
We have another casualty.